Welcome back to the Billy Meier Books YouTube channel. For this video, FIGU Groups, we're joined tonight with Vivian Legg, who is the president of FIGU-Landesgruppe Australia. Welcome to the show, Vivian.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Vivian lives in Tasmania on some small acreage where she tends her nut orchard and garden. She first learned about Billy in 2002 from the movie Contact, which was put out by Wendell Stevens. Soon after, she began to learn German. And then in 2003, she became a FIGU passive member of FIGU Switzerland. She started writing articles and translating with her partner at that time, Dyson Devine. And in 2009, she visited the Simjaze Silver Star Center in Switzerland. In 2011, she formed FIGU-Landesgruppe Australia with 6 other members. So let's get right into it. So Vivian, where exactly is FIGU-Landesgruppe Australia located at?
Well, we don't really have a location. Our members are so few and so spread out across the eastern part of Australia that we just can't practically meet. I'm down here in the southern island state of Tasmania, so I'd have to fly to meetings, which just isn't practical. We have 3 members who are in the southern state of Victoria on the mainland, and we have one that's about an hour north of Sydney, and another 3 that are around the border of New South Wales and Queensland in the subtropics. So really,
wow, spread out.
And they're all 3 or 4 hours drive apart. So it's just not practical. So we don't have a home base, but once a year we do manage to meet in Victoria at the home of one of the members for an annual general meeting.
I see. And how often do you meet, when it's not the general meeting, how often do you meet, for your regular meetings?
So we have a monthly meeting, and that's every second Saturday of the month. We have a monthly meeting, and that's when we deal with most of our business, first and foremost. We have all the business to do with the book production. We are reprinting books at the moment rather than publishing them, and we order them from Canada and the other people who are producing their own books and sending our own books out. It's quite a business. Quite a lot of effort goes into all of that, the people who are involved. We're also working on articles all the time that have to be discussed, and translations, mostly smaller ones at the moment. We have a couple of ladies in Victoria who do an information stand that has to be sorted out, and letterbox drops. So a couple of our members are involved in that. So there's quite a lot of business to do, and that's what the business meeting is for. But on the same day, we have a meeting to discuss the spiritual teachings, where we just get together and read the texts and discuss them and help each other learn. And that's also open to the public, so you don't have to be a member to come along to those meetings. Anyone who just is respectfully interested is very much welcome to come and join us in those.
Oh, wow.
And then in the
great.
evening, and if that's not enough, in the evening we have peace meditations, 2 20-minute peace meditations, which are likewise members of the public can join those if they're interested.
Wow, that's great. Speaking of publications, what books or publications have you published recently?
Well, it's been a while since we did a book. The most recent one is Introduction to Meditation. We're really spending most of our time at the moment working on smaller translations of the booklets. So you can see a long list of all the booklets we've done recently. There's always new ones on overpopulation. We get the job of doing some of the translations of information that Billy and the Pliaran want out quite quickly to do with, we did a lot of the coronavirus translations, the advice about that, for instance, and very recently a notice about the Pliaran not being the ones who are showing themselves around the place a lot and will not be. That was important to have out. So we do a lot of that kind of work rather than book publications. But yeah, you can see what we've done. It's all on the web page for exact brochures and so forth.
Okay. And what about past publication? Did you cover that already, or is there some? What books have you done, I guess?
Yeah. So we've done 3 main books.
Okay.
We started with Might of the Thoughts. It's just a wonderful book to start with, in my view, because you don't have to be concerned about the history of the case. You don't have to be concerned about the extraterrestrial factor or the all the teaching to do with religion specifically. These books are just so densely packed with a crystal clear teaching that just distinguishes itself from anything else you can find. Most of us have sort of had a bit of a look at teaching about meditation elsewhere and about the might of the thoughts, but it only goes so far, and it's surrounded by other cloudy, erroneous teaching, and you get the feeling that you just can only get so far with it. But this teaching is absolutely jam-packed with detail and really clearly understands how the consciousness works. So, he deals with neutrality, thinking. The common idea about positive thinking is erroneous in that he explains that it's really neutral thinking, seeing the positive and the negative totally neutrally. And that's what creates the positive values that form our thoughts and so forth if we want that outcome in our lives. And it's nothing to do with this exaggerated positivity where one just ignores any negatives as if they don't exist. So the other really important thing to mention that distinguishes this book is explanations about the unconscious, how it can actually create thoughts also that can defeat what you're achieving with your conscious thinking. So, really, as I say, a really detailed, in-depth, quite difficult study of the topic. So that was the first book that we did.
Okay.
Then we did The Way to Live. What a broad title. And again, it's just jam-packed with really dense explanations about all kinds of topics. And, I have a few that I could briefly mention. If you ask someone else, they'd come up with a whole different collection of favorite topics. But for me, it's teaching about the creational law of striving. Everything strives. The human being needs to strive. Even the creation itself strives. About the value of work, about it being a creational function and not something to resent, about the benefit of having a duty to ourselves. So self-care, self-love, not trying to escape looking at ourselves through distraction, through going off and involving ourselves in all sorts of amusements so that we don't have to look at ourselves. So self-love, self-care, self-responsibility. And he explains the kinds of different love, the genuine reality-based love versus false forms of love. He talks about the necessity to contemplate death as a part of life, our own death and the death of our loved ones, so that we come to terms with it as a natural creational part of existence. And he also has sections on meditation in this book. So if you only wanted to get one book, or you only could afford to get one book, this one, I think, is terrific for all those reasons. It's just so dense. And then there's all these proverbs of wisdom. It's just jam-packed with proverbs of wisdom that make you think so many things. So that was the second one that we published. And then there's Introduction to Meditation. I showed this book to a friend many years ago, an older lady, a German friend, and I said, I'd like to translate that one day. This is, when I'd only been learning for a couple of years. And she said, oh no, that's far too difficult, because it's difficult even in the German language for German readers. That's how these books are. But our German-born member, our secretary Vibke, she was game, so she started that translation, and others helped. And of course, we had Marianne in Switzerland and Billy helping as well through Marianne. So that one got done, and it's just so detailed and so crystal clear, and he explains things that you never thought could have explanations. Even that one thing you think is the silence of the consciousness during a meditation, you think of it as being one thing. He manages to divide that up and explain its components. I just marvel at it, really. A brilliant read, and quite intense. Quite detailed. So those are the three we've done.
That's outstanding. What a great contribution to the English-speaking world. Thank you so much.
I mean, it's a pleasure. It's just how could we do otherwise, is the way I feel about it,
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Do you have any publications for the future?Maybe give us a little bit of insight of what may be going on now, what you're working on that may come out some point in the future?
Well, a couple of us are working on the second meditation book, but it's not officially our translation. It's the work of someone, at the initiative of somebody, a passive member in the United States, and someone in Germany is also working on that, another passive member. So it's not actually our official project, and it remains to be seen who will end up actually publishing that, because that's still probably quite a while before that one will be ready.
Is that meditation from a clear point of view?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I can't make any promises about what will happen with that one. We're not planning any other book publications anytime soon. That could all change, because it really does depend on the initiatives of individuals, not necessarily members of the public who might turn up who are good at translating, and who we can check their work and perhaps publish. This sort of things can happen, but at the moment, we just feel that our energies are best spent on things other than translations, because groups Canada has done such a wonderful job at producing a whole lot of books, and there really are a very good collection, of books out there for the English-speaking world at the moment. There are many more, of course, as you can see. Many of these have not been translated, and I would love to be able to just hand them to everyone. But another factor is, it's not just our duty to create translations for the English-speaking world. It's also our duty to encourage people to learn German. So, arguably, people still need a bit of an incentive. It's not for no reason that they recommend that that's what happens. The English language is just not as precise as the German, and words and meanings are just so important, given the power of the thought and so forth to guide our lives.
What a great statement. It would be nice if a lot more people would learn German. That would certainly could help with translation, but it could also help with their own learning. The individual who's reading. Right,
and our German-born member Vibke, she has spent a lot of time helping other people learn, very, very patiently.
Oh wow, that's great. What other activities does FIGU-Landesgruppe Australia do besides translating and publications?
Well, it's mainly the information stands and the letterbox drops. So the ladies in Victoria, they can go to the city of Melbourne, which is one of our two biggest cities. They can go there, and they do their information stands there every couple of months in the warmer weather, except not these last couple of years because of the coronavirus situation. They thought it was better not to, even though they're allowed to, but it's been not advisable. And aside from that, so some people, it just, those individuals who feel moved to do so are doing the letterbox drops, where we are distributing the flyer about the peace and the peace symbol. That's really the main thing. We haven't attempted any lectures in public, any lately because it's just hasn't really proved to be practical. There's just too few people and we're too spread out, and you need to be in a capital city, and the result of those tends not to be particularly good. It seems more productive to just keep on publishing on the internet because people can access the information that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, great. Anything else you want to share with the audience about the FIGU-Landesgruppe Australia?
Oh, well, we're always looking forward for new sincere members. We had 3 join last year after having basically 5 active members for many, many years. So that was a lovely development, and it shows that, the group can grow. So there's really nothing more to explain. If if people are interested, you can approach us. You can contact us via our webpage.
Oh, that's a great point. What is your contact information? How do people get a hold of you if they want to?
Right. So the webpage is au.figu.org. And when you go to our webpage, you'll see a contact tab, and you can follow the links there, and you'll see that you can write a message in a form, and that will go to our secretary, and she'll respond to that. So if you want to inquire, you can have a discussion with Vibka and take it from there. And she'll let you know what's going on and more detail if you want to know. But we're pretty, we're not many, and it's a lovely small group at the moment, but we'd certainly like to grow.
Okay.
Lovely in smallness in that we know each other well, and it's easy
That's
to use
nice.
the internet with fewer people. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen if we suddenly become a lot bigger, but we'll see. Maybe, perhaps we'll divide into smaller groups or something.
Well, as everything grows, there's always more challenges, right?
Right, exactly right. Just a natural process.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sort of winds it up for this episode of FIGU Groups. We've been so fortunate to be joined by Vivian Legg from FIGU-Landesgruppe Australia, who is also the president of that group. Thank you so much, Vivian, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.